Hello my darlings, good morning and welcome to Literacy Time. Now today I hope you have started off by listening to one of the versions of Jack and the Beanstalk. So traditional tales are ones that have been around for a very long time, and often when they started off they were told by people through word of mouth. So people would tell each other the stories, not from a book, but they would just tell the story to a friend, to a family member, and just pass it around like that. And the stories would just be handed down through the generations of people like that. And then eventually they were written down. But it means that different people knew slightly different versions of the story. So there are slightly different versions of most traditional tales. And then, of course, when people started writing them down and then turning them into little films and cartoons, people made their own changes as well. So maybe as the week goes through, and you listen to the different versions of the story, you could have a little think about what differences you can notice in the stories, and what did you like best? You know, what were the changes that you noticed between the stories, and what do you think were good changes? What do you think were bad changes? What made it a better story? So that would be a good thing to look out for. And it's going to feed into some of our work a little bit later on in the term when we do a lot more on comparing stories. Anyway, right, to today's task. So on my lap in the Bitmoji classroom, in the Google Classroom, because that version of me is called a Bitmoji. So on Bitmoji Me, there is a picture, and if you click on that, it will take you to a little link, and it will tell you about how to grow something from a seed, so how to plant a seed. Now, I expect that most of you remember this because you've done quite a lot of planting with Ms. Atkinson, and she would hope that you do remember. But it's always good to have a reminder, give our memories a little bit of a jog. So watch the little video, remind yourself what you need to plant, what you need in order to plant a seed properly so that it will grow and thrive. That means grow really well. Because of course this week we are thinking about, what do you think we're thinking about? Beanstalks, of course, to go with Jack and the Beanstalk. Okay, so then we get to your literacy task. So we've got a few different things depending on the groups that you are working on. So once you have watched the video, so you start off with your story of Jack, you have a little talk about what you liked about that version, and then another day you can watch a different version and talk about the differences. Then you're going to watch the story about growing. Well, it's a video rather than the story, sorry. You're going to watch the little video about how to grow things, and then talk through what you need to grow something. So there are some very important things. There aren't too many things, but there are some very important things that you need if you want something to grow. Now, when you go to your classwork section up the top in the Google Classroom, you will find that you have been assigned some new lovely work from me, and I want you to have a go at doing that. Now you have today and tomorrow, and then it is due in, okay? We're changing some of the due dates this week. Last week was our week for getting used to everything, and now this week we're starting to be a little bit more choppy with when things are due in, because of course when we're in school, I expect you to do the work then, don't I? We can't be all lazy-daisy, as we say, so we have to try and do the work. So literally we've got 2 days to get it done in, okay? So that you've got some time, because I know we all have demanding things on at home as well. So we've got 2 days to get the literacy task done in, and then submit it, please, so I can have a look at it. So some of us will be writing sentences. Now, some will be having a go at describing words. Now, we can all learn about describing words. Describing words are exciting words that add detail to a sentence. So we could have a simple sentence like, it is a dog. So, it. Notice I've remembered my capital letter. So it, finger space, is, finger space, A, finger space, dog. Full stop. Should I finished? Full stop. Okay, now it is a dog. Now I've remembered all the important things in my sentence. However, we could make it even more exciting. Now, we do that by adding a describing word. Describing words help people to know a little bit more about what you're writing about. They help them to imagine it. So this dog, we don't know very much about it, do we? We don't know if it's a big dog, a small dog, or a fluffy dog, scary dog. Okay, we don't know any of those things. And we can use a describing word to add that detail. So we're going to make it a big dog. So it is a big, big, finger space, dog, full stop. Oh, I just fitted it in there. So it is a big dog. So now we know what size it is. So already in our heads we can imagine it much better. To begin with, we had no idea, did we? So you can use that when you're writing your sentence about what you need to use when you are planting, okay? So you can write about maybe you need a small pot or a big pot, or maybe you need brown soil. So you're adding those details just so people can imagine things better. Or a small seed, so take a small seed, or it is a small seed. Okay, so think about where you could use a describing word, okay? And there are some materials attached to your work to support you in doing that. So that is the challenge for strawberries to go and do. Now, let's work on sentence writing. For those of you working on the basics of sentence writing, we are really working on making our sentences fantastic. Okay, so let's have a think. Things that we would need. So I need a pot. So that's a good one. It's nice and simple. Remember, we don't want to make our sentences too long because then it gets really complicated. We want to make our work manageable for us so that we can apply our phonics knowledge. Use what's in our head. So I need a pot. That's a good sentence. So I, tricky word I, always a capital letter. Finger space, very important. N, E, D. Now the E digraph is one we haven't technically learned in our phonics yet, in our phonics lesson, but because the sound comes up so often, I have taught it to you during our writing sessions because we just use it so much, the E sound. So two F's together make the E sound, and when we have two letters that make one sound, that's called a digraph. So I need, finger space, a, finger space, pot, P-O-T. And then what do we need at the end of a sentence? We need a full stop. That's right. So I need a pot. I need a pot. Remember, I just checked my sentence because we always want to check it to make sure it makes sense. Now, some others of us are going to be doing list writing. When we're writing a list, we can use bullet points. Bullet points help us to organise our list. They make them nice and neat and clear and easy to read. Now, let's have a think. Things that we would need. Oh, I might need a pot, mightn't I? That's what I just used in the last piece of work. So pot. Sound fingers. P-O-T. P-O-T. Pot. Fantastic. That's my first bullet point. Okay, something else I might need for planting a bean. Oh, well, I might need the bean itself, mightn't I? So, B-E. I'm going to use my phonics, B-E-N. Now, of course, we are aware that this is not technically the correct spelling of bean. Now, adults, you can show your child the correct spelling of bean, absolutely, but the important thing is that they're starting to apply their phonics knowledge. So bean, if they're starting to do that, that's showing that they're using what they're learning in class. But this is the correct spelling of bean. So pot and bean. Now, something that we pour that we would need some water, wouldn't we? Now, water is a bit of a tricky one because we haven't really done much on the W sound yet, because that's in phase 3 phonics. We've only just started that. But we have seen it occasionally, used it occasionally, the W sound. It looks like this. Down, up, water. Now, water's a tricky one to hear the sound. So see what sounds you can hear in water. Water. Now, I can hear a T, and I might be able to hear an at the end, a R sort of sound. If you can't hear that sound at the end, that's fine too. If you're just getting those sounds for water, that's absolutely fine. Now, last but not least, we're going to need something to shine to make our bean grow. We're going to need some sun, aren't we? So let's sound that one out. S, ah, n. And again, you can always use your sound fingers to support with that one. So s, ah, n, sun. So we've got our list: pot, bean, water, and sun. Great job, well done. Now, we also have some of you who will be labelling some pictures. Now, I've attached a little voice note to that, but for instance, one of them is a picture of Jack's mum. Oh dear, I don't think I can draw a very good picture of Jack's mum. Okay, well, she's got a smiley face anyway. Okay, and one of them is the sun. Now, you will be working on the initial sounds in those words. That means the first sound that you can hear. It's about really working on hearing those sounds. So, in the word mum, what's the first sound that you can hear? Mum. Well done. So, it's the sound, and that's the grapheme for it. Phoneme is what we can hear, so it's the one that we say, and grapheme is the one that we write down. So here we've got M for mum, and then here we've got a picture of the sun. So what's the first sound in sun? That's right, the sound. And there we go. Now we've labelled those first two pictures. There are a couple more for you to do on your assigned work. Right, okay then, off we go and do some fantastic literacy. I can't wait to see it handed in. Bye for now.